walked into a room and immediately felt like you wanted to just disappear? Or maybe you've stared at that email draft for like 20 minutes, rewriting it 7 times because it doesn't sound smart enough. Or you've looked in the mirror before an important meeting and thought, who am I kidding? They're going to see right through me. If you're nodding your head at all right now, congratulations. You've met the voice. And today we're going to name it, we're going to understand it, and we're going to start taking back our power from it. Are you excited? Let's do it. This voice I'm talking about, it's not just any voice. It's the one that's been with you so long, you might think it's actually you, but it's not. It's that not enough voice that somehow got installed in your operating system years ago. And it's been quietly running the show ever since. For me, this voice took root when I was just 15 years old. I had my first boyfriend. Let's call him Bob. He was a little older, seemed so worldly to my teenage self. I remember one evening after we'd been dating for a while, he looked at me thoughtfully and said what he probably thought was helpful advice. You know, you'd be really pretty if you lost 10 pounds. In that single moment, a belief was planted that would shape decades of my life. I didn't know I was fat, but so much more than the weight. It was the message that I wasn't enough as I was, that I needed to change to be worthy of love. And let me tell you what happened with that little seed of not enough. It grew. It took root. It became the filter through which I saw myself in every situation. When I walked into rooms full of people, I'd immediately feel like I wanted to just slink into a corner and hide. I'm too fat to be loved. I'm not pretty enough to be noticed. I'm not interesting enough to be included. This voice became so loud that I became desperate to silence it. So desperate that I developed bulimia, thinking if I could just control my body, control my eating, I could finally be enough. For 3 decades, 3 decades, I carried this voice with me everywhere I went. What I've learned through my own journey and working with so many women is that we all develop what I call a primary question early in life. It's usually between the ages of 7 and 14 when this question gets planted in our psyche. Maybe yours is something like, am I too much trouble to be loved? Do I even deserve to be here? To hear that compliment, to hear those nice words? Will I be abandoned if I'm not perfect? Am I smart enough? And this becomes a question that we ask ourselves hundreds of times a day without even realizing it. It becomes the silent background music of all of our lives. I call these questions our kryptonite. Remember Superman? So powerful, so capable, until he encounters that one substance that just drains all his strength. That's what these not enough questions do to us. They drain our natural power, our natural confidence, our natural capacity to bring our gifts to the world. Think about how this voice might be controlling you right now. Are there jobs you haven't applied for because this voice whispered, you're not qualified enough for that? Have you held back your opinion in meetings maybe because the voice said your ideas aren't smart enough, they're going to laugh at you? Maybe you've even stayed, and I am very guilty of this, stayed in relationships that weren't serving you because the voice convinced you that you won't find anybody better. You should be just grateful that anybody wants you at all. Maybe you've looked at women confidently sharing their work online and thought, I could never do that. Who would listen to me? The truth here is this voice becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When we believe we're not enough, we act from that belief. We hide, we play small, we apologize for existing. And then we create evidence that reinforces the very thing we feared. that we don't belong, that we're not enough. But the greatest cost, now listen, the world misses out on your gifts. The unique combination of strengths, perspectives, and talents that only you can bring. The very things that you were put on this earth to share stay hidden. And that's not just sad for you. It's sad for all of us. For me, the beginning of freedom from this voice came in my 40s. I was attending a class at my church, and the teacher said something that stopped me in my tracks. You are loved just because you are, not because of anything you do or don't do, not because of how you look or what you can accomplish, just because you exist. It was like someone had wrapped me in a warm blanket. Could it really be that simple? That I didn't have to earn love by being thin enough or smart enough or accomplished enough? That revelation began a profound shift in how I saw myself. And not only that, how I saw my place in the world. Instead of worrying about whether I was worthy to enter a room, I started asking myself, will I bring shame or love into this space? Will I listen to that old fear voice saying I'm not enough? Or will I push the kryptonite aside? I began to realize that I was made with unique qualities, superpowers, if you will, that could bring something amazing to others. And that changed everything about how I showed up in the world. Now, when I walk into a room, instead of scanning for judgment, which is what I have always done, I look for people who might be feeling like I used to, ashamed and fearful, inadequate. I seek them out and I smile at them and I ask questions to discover who they are. So how do you identify your own version of this voice? I want to give you some practical ways to catch it in action. Think about a situation where you feel most insecure. Maybe it's speaking in public or carrying on a conversation with a stranger in a social event, or maybe it's putting your own creative work out into the world. When you imagine that situation, what question seems to be running through your mind? What are you afraid others will discover about you? Notice when you feel that tightness in your chest or the hesitation before taking action. What are you asking yourself in those moments? Is it, I'm not good enough? Or what if they reject me? Or something like, who am I to think I can do this? Think back to comments from your past that still sting when you remember them. The ones that made you feel small or inadequate, kind of like, oh, you'd be really pretty if you lost 10 pounds. Often these moments are clues to the formation of your primary question. They'll lead you to it. This voice is not you. It's just an old recording playing. You can start creating distance from it simply by recognizing it, simply by saying, there's that not enough voice again. Once you've identified your voice, here are some initial tools that you can start using to manage it. First, as we talked about, recognition. Name it to tame it. Just labeling the voice when it appears reduces its power. There's my not smart enough thought again. Second, question the question. When the voice says, you're not good enough for this, ask back, is this actually true? Where's your evidence? Often we've been believing these things for so long, we've never actually examined whether they're accurate. Third, reconnect with purpose. Ask yourself, what am I here to bring to this situation? What do I have that I can offer here? What am I putting on the table? What am I bringing into the room? This shifts your focus from self-judgment to what you can contribute. And fourth, focus outward. When I feel that old insecurity creeping in at an event, I ask myself, who else might need connection or encouragement here? Who looks like they're scared to death? Who looks like they're very uncomfortable? This takes the spotlight off my own insecurities and puts it onto serving somebody else. Understanding this voice isn't just about feeling better about yourself, though that's certainly a wonderful benefit. It's about being brave enough to be who you truly are in the world. The world needs you. Courage isn't about silencing this voice completely. That's probably not possible and honestly not even necessary. Courage is about acting despite the voice. It's about saying, I hear you, but I'm not going to let you drive my decisions anymore. You are in the backseat. You were created with purpose, with superpowers, meant to impact others. Every room you walk into is an opportunity to bring those gifts forward, even when, and especially when, that old not enough voice tries to hold you back. This week, when you notice your not enough voice, simply name it. Say to yourself, that's my old recording playing. It's not the truth about me. Just this small act of recognition starts to loosen the voice's grip on your choices. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's the not enough message that you've been carrying? Sharing it is often the first step to freedom. Next time, we're going to build on this awareness with a powerful tool I call the Fred Framework. I love this. This is my favorite. In fact, it changed my life. Remember, you were made on purpose for a purpose, and that's more than enough. You can be brave enough to get through anything hard.